This is Augie Macro with Cryptid Creatures. Today we're going to talk about perhaps the most terrifying monster in all of cryptozoology, the Wendigo. The Wendigo is described as being a tall humanoid creature between 6 and 15 feet tall, with sunken and yellow eyes, long needle-like teeth, lips that have been gnawed off or decayed away, an emaciated build with long thin arms and legs with long fingers and long sharp claws, a mouth that is always dripping with blood and viscera from its victims, and decaying ashy white or gray skin. The Wendigo legend originates in Native American folklore all across North America, particularly in the Great Lakes region of Minnesota, Ontario, and Wisconsin, with tribes such as the Cree and the Ojibwe. Other variants of the legend include the Chenoo of Mohawk folklore in the area of New York and New England, and the Wet'suwet'en of the Pacific Northwest. One of the most famous historical accounts of a Wendigo comes from Alberta in 1878 with a Cree Indian man named Swift Runner. He took his wife, 6 children, brother and mother-in-law to live with him in a cabin for that winter. The following spring he emerged claiming that his entire family had died of starvation, though he himself seemed robust and healthy. The locals eventually went to investigate his cabin to discover the cooked remains of his entire family. Though he claimed that the spirit of the Wendigo had possessed him and drove him to these heinous acts, he was hanged in December of 1879 for the murder of his entire family. Was Swift Runner merely a delusional murderer? Or was he in fact a victim of the spirit of the Wendigo? We may never know. The Wendigo is said to be able to take many different forms, which, according to Native American legend, correlate with one another. The Wendigo is usually described as beginning as a spirit, which then possesses a human and turns them into the physical creature. This physical creature is then able to gather energy in the form of human flesh for this spirit. However, the Wendigo itself is also able to infect others, turn others into other Wendigos, in a similar way as werewolves or zombies, by biting them or scratching them. In recent years, psychologists have formulated a more scientific explanation to the story. It is known as Wendigo psychosis, which is described as a form of psychosis in which the victim truly believes that they have become possessed by the Wendigo. Symptoms at the beginning include anxiety, depression, and anorexia, which eventually lead into full psychotic episodes, which include hallucinations and cannibalistic urges. Eventually, the person begins to believe that they have in fact been possessed by the Wendigo and begin to fall to these cannibalistic urges. If they do this, they are driven to an irreversible, bloodthirsty, man-eating madness. In modern times, a new face has been given to the Wendigo, replacing its humanoid features with more animalistic ones, such as a deer or elk skull-like head and large antlers. No one is quite sure when or where this occurred, but it is thought that perhaps American authors, sometime at the turn of the 1900s, related the stories to European tellings of demons, giving it the horns and the animalistic features. We had the opportunity to visit Jay Cooke State Park in the wilds of Minnesota to investigate the legend further. Here we are in the wilds of Minnesota, where it is said that the Wendigo is most frequently sighted. Due to the environmental conditions of the state, such as its harsh winters and general lack of civilization, it would be a great habitat for a creature such as this. With long blizzards, freezing temperatures, and food scarcities, the winters of the Midwest are a very unrelenting time for the people of the region. With such desperation, cannibalism becomes a more reasonable option to survive. This is what attracts the spirit of the Wendigo, which attaches itself to the people and sends them into a man-eating madness. Some people believe that there's a connection between the Wendigo and these winter months, whether it's elemental connection or simply that they prefer these times of the year. Is there a connection? We may never know. According to Native American lore, the Wendigo spirit is often associated with water, which has led to many lakes throughout the country being named after the creature, such as Lake Windigo in Minnesota and Windigo Lake in Wisconsin. Here we are at Windigo Lake in Wisconsin. Local legend tells that the lake was named after an Ojibwe warrior who fought against two Sioux warriors on the shores of this very lake. It is said that after dispatching them, he ate their hearts in order to attain their strength and bravery in battle. He was from then on known as Wendigo. He later named the lake after himself, and the name has stuck to this very day. The lake has also hosted many Wendigo sightings of its own, which have been attributed to the high concentrations of mercury in the lake. It is thought that the toxic effects of the mercury have caused a hallucinogenic effect in the witnesses. Is this true? We may never know. Thanks for watching, and in order to like, subscribe, and watch our previous and future episodes, visit the Cryptid Creatures YouTube channel and tell your friends. Cryptid Creatures is brought to you by the Kitty Petters Union, Cobble Sound Recording Company, and my dad's show, Meet the Pressers. This is Cryptid Creatures with Augie Macro, signing off.